Hello and welcome to Let's Talk. Today we're going to talk about being prepared for this season of the year, which is the hurricane season. And with me is Rick Scopa, who is the Public Relations Officer for our Pembroke Pines Fire Department. And he knows all about how to be prepared for this season. Hi, Rick. How you doing?
Hello, Elaine. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
We're going to talk about being prepared for hurricane season.
Yep.
First and foremost, let's talk about when hurricane season starts. It runs from June 1st through November 30th.
June 1st?
Yes, ma'am.
I never realized that.
June 1st.
I thought it started much later.
Yeah, a lot of people really are, unsure of that. So we want to, explain to them exactly when.
So you need to be prepared starting
Absolutely.
early.
Starting
June.
early, start your preparations even before June, because it's coming, or beginning on June 1st.
Right.
And going to continue, like I said, through November 30th.
So what do you do early on?
Okay, early on. Some of the things that we want to talk about as far as being prepared. A lot of things that aren't done right away is you need to go and take out that cash that you need to have on hand. Your credit cards, your debit cards, they're not going to be working, if there's no power.
That's right.
So you need to have that cash on hand. Some of these things are reiterated over and over, but some people just don't heed the warning. So get that cash out.
We need to tell them right from day one so that as many times as you hear it, it registers.
Absolutely. So we get that cash out, we take our cars and we fill them up. Even though nowadays some gas stations have generators, so we may not have to do what we did in years past and wait in a line.
Sometimes you can't get through the streets because the debris is on it.
You are absolutely right. So filling up that car and making sure that it's fueled up and ready to go after the storm in case you need it. Bring in all of your outdoor furniture. Remember, what's on your patio when it's a 90, 100 mile an hour wind could easily end up in your neighbor's yard, impaled in your neighbor's house. So bring in all of your stuff early. Make sure it's well secured so that when the storm comes, there's nothing, you don't have to worry about it.
Okay, you don't have to really do that starting June 1st, but if you're tuned to the television or the radio, it'll tell you there's a storm coming that could hit Florida.
Absolutely.
That's the time to start.
Again, you're just trying to prepare your mind to, okay, the news says that the storm, there's a possibility that it may come. Let me pull out my checklist and go through everything that I need to do to prepare for this storm.
Okay, so you need cash, you need your car fueled full.
Right, full.
And
buy your supplies early, Elaine. Again, you don't want to be that person fighting with the person next to you for that last loaf of bread or that last bottle of water.
That's right.
So when you go to the store throughout the year, just pick up that extra case of water or that extra loaf of bread and just put it aside just in case we do get a storm. You want to make sure that you're prepared and not that last person in line for the last bottle of water.
And your medication?
Absolutely, medication. For some people, medication is life or death. And again, just like the water or the bread, you can't wait and go to your pharmacy or pharmacist and say, I got to have 3 months supply, 2 days before this storm hits. It's not going to happen. On that checklist, you're going to prepare. If it's a week away, the storm, or close, go to your pharmacist. It's better to have it than not have it.
Sure.
So I think preparation along with having that checklist is going to do you a world of good.
Okay, so what else do you need?
Okay.
What are all your little toys in there?
Okay, I got some toys here that can assist
not toys.
you. No, these are just handy dandy tools actually that will help you in preparation or during the storm. And I know I have a multitude of them, but the fire department frowns upon open flames, candles and stuff, because when you're tired, if you're up for 10 or
Sure.
12 hours, accidents can happen. Okay, so we want to take the necessary steps to avoid those things from happening. And you can do that very easily today with some of these things. This is just a battery-powered lantern that you can buy at any home improvement store.
It's got a nice light.
Nice light. If the room was dark, it illuminates it very, very well. It has a carry handle on it. You know, you could actually
take
hook
it
a
from room
clip.
to room.
Yeah, absolutely. And all you do is just set it down and you're good to go. As long as you have extra batteries as well that you would add to your checklist for our lantern. These are an invaluable tool right here versus candles. This is just a glow stick that I purchased at a home improvement store. You open it up, you crack it, shake it a little bit, and this thing will illuminate for 8 to 10 hours.
As kids who go to concerts know.
Absolutely, yes. And it's not used for the same thing, obviously. But this is great because you can leave it hanging like on the doorknob and it'll illuminate, especially when it comes to children. Sometimes in the dark, you know, they're a little scared. You hand them one of these and they'll walk around the house and they will not be, you know, in fear of anything because everywhere they go is going to be well.
It's a nice item.
It's a great item, it really is. And we emphasize this when we go out and do hurricane preparedness within the community. And then, of course, we have a multitude of flashlights and whatnot. They come in all shapes and sizes nowadays. You see, this is a industrial one where you'll feel it. It's like a heavy metal.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a heavy metal type where, if you were tired and you accidentally dropped it on the floor, it's not going to break or anything. You're still going to...
It might break your tile.
It could break your toe if it falls on your toe. But this is another one where you could, again, just slip it around your neck and it just lights up in a multitude of colors. It flashes.
Wow.
Okay? And this is really light if you know.
I never saw that.
Absolutely. So very, very convenient and handy, especially when you have children.
And there are no batteries to that.
No, there is batteries to that. Yes.
There are?
Yeah. All it does is unscrew right here, Elaine, and the batteries are right inside here. They're inside the actual handle itself. Very, very convenient, and again, perfect for children. Now, along with our props here, or tools, if you will, the other thing that I like to emphasize is when we talk about having our supplies, there's a possibility that the emergency responders may not be available for, hours. So you want to make sure that you have a well-stocked first aid kit. Now, when I say well-stocked, I'm not talking about just a box of Band-Aids and a tube of Neosporin, okay? Because you don't know how long it's going to be before the professionals arrive.
At least 72 hours.
Again,
at least.
Depending on the severity, it could be at least 72 hours. Yeah. So we want to make sure that we're prepared, not only for our families, but maybe somebody within your neighbor or somebody gets hurt and says, oh my God, I wish I had an ACE bandage right now. You go into your well-stocked first aid kit and you'll have that ACE bandage. So I think this is a very, very important piece of equipment or tool to have for hurricane preparedness.
And then you need other things around the house. You need things that don't depend on electricity.
Correct.
You need a manual can opener.
Manual can opener.
I found that out.
Right. A lot of people, are not aware that, of course, when the power goes out, they pull out their electric can opener. Well, it's not going to do them any good because there's no power. So the manual can opener, and also one of the newest things is a battery-operated fan.
Right.
Remember, this is South Florida. The humidity is high. We have no electricity, which means we have no air conditioning, which means we have to rely on something to keep us cool. A battery-operated fan, or even now they make portable air conditioners. They are, quite expensive, but in South Florida, I think they're well worth the money.
Yeah, unless you have a generator, a house generator.
House generators.
You need all of these things that don't depend on electricity.
Absolutely, and unless you have a whole house generator, even with the smaller one, it will not be able to power everything within your house. a smaller generator will not power your
Air
AC
conditioner.
unit. It draws way too much electricity. So you'll need these things, and the generator will probably run possibly a fan or your refrigerators and whatnot until the power goes back on.
I like these items.
Yeah, these are very valuable, like tools that you should have as part of your kit.
And then what if you decide that not to stay?
I think that's a very good question on should I stay where I'm at or should I go? And unfortunately, we can't decide that. You have to decide that.
Right.
I'll just emphasize on if you're going to leave, prepare to leave early. Because if you decide late, not everybody, but a lot of people wait till the last minute. The roads are now clogged.
Sure.
There's no way to get out. You're never going to reach your destination that you wanted to. So if you're contemplating whether to leave 4 or 5 days before, do it. Get in your car and leave. Go to that safe place that you think is, and just wait out until the storm passes.
And if you're going, you better let somebody in your home neighborhood know that you're going to be gone.
A very good point on notifying a neighbor or somebody within the area so that when the emergency responders show up and they're searching, let's say, they can encounter the neighbor and say, well, I'm going to go to your neighbor next door, and they'll tell us she packed up 3 or 4 days ago and left to go be with her family members.
Right.
It's very important. It definitely saves us a little bit of time.
And thought that maybe there's somebody in there that needs help and they're not answering the door, and you break down the door.
Absolutely.
And then what?
And that's always a possibility, because our job is life safety and
Right.
saving lives. So we want to make sure that if we do get to that apartment and we weren't notified and nobody's answering, we are going to go in and just verify that.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, there are a lot of things that people need to do and people need to know. It's got to be drummed into your head so that when the season arrives, you're not panicky. You know exactly what you're going to do.
Absolutely. And again, I think the being prepared long before hurricane season starts, having your checklist, having your tools, having your supplies, everything kind of in
Canned
order.
goods. You need
canned
canned
goods,
goods.
all of your food. And remember the
'Cause
stuff.
frozen goods don't
Yeah,
help.
no, frozen goods definitely aren't going to help you.
No.
Remember, like we were talking about, the preparation is going to be so important for not just you, for all of your family members. Having the food and the stuff you see on the news or see in hurricane guides. That's the minimum amount. Like, they emphasize possibly a gallon of water per day per person. Exceed that, because some people can, drink more than a gallon of water a day. So I like to overemphasize and say, make sure you have a well-stocked supply kit.
So double what the suggested minimum is.
It definitely wouldn't hurt. Absolutely not. Water's not going to go bad. The canned goods, they're not going to expire. So you know what? It's better to have more than less.
Sure. And then at the end of the season, you give it to the homeless.
Absolutely.
If you don't need it,
That's a great way of doing it. Pass it on to
Pass it on to
somebody
people.
who else that'll use it.
yeah, I did that the last time.
That's a great thing. It really is. So
And if you stay at home, where are you the safest?
the safest is away from any door or window. Okay, so if you have a hallway or if you have a room that has
Bathroom or closet.
closet, because most bathrooms nowadays have windows. So a closet is a good inside of the hallway. If you have shutters, you obviously don't have to do that. You don't have to hide away from the windows and stuff. But if you don't have them, ideally the closet or the hallway away from the windows and doors is the ideal spot.
Okay, so we want to be safe, we want to be prepared,
Yes,
and then we want to hope that we don't need any of this.
of course. That's our
Put it away again for next time.
Absolutely. But having that emergency plan in place and practicing it Elaine, is definitely, whether the storm comes or not, you practice it and make sure that your family is prepared in the event that that storm does come.
Rick Scopa,
Yes,
thank you so much.
my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And we're going to do this again next year because every year new products come out.
It's true.
And people need to know that what's available.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing you next year.
Okay.
Thanks again.
For OCTV, I'm Elaine Kuhlman, and thank you for joining Fireman Rick Scopa and I for this talk on hurricane preparedness. And our last word is be prepared.